Hello, welcome to the video series, The Romance of Writing. In this video, I'm going to share with you about the vulnerability in sharing and expressing our heart and our soul in a book, and how we can actually learn from the vulnerability of dating. I'll share this with you through a metaphor, a story of what I'm actually going through and experiencing. There is someone that I started to develop feelings for, and it just came at a surprise. Um, I never thought that I could feel that way about this guy. And I was like, actually really like this guy. Actually, would really love to be able to spend time with him. And I started noticing myself feeling really vulnerable. I I wanted him to see me differently. I wanted him to see how beautiful or special I was. And I wanted him to actually tell me that I am beautiful, I am unique, I am special, I am desirable. And while he wasn't saying any of those things, I felt a little hurt inside. I felt like a little girl just wanting to be acknowledged, wanting to be validated, wanting to be seen, wanting to be told that she was seen for her beauty, for her magnificence, for her radiance, for who she was. And when I realized that I would not receive that validation from him, at least not for quite some time, um, I felt really sad. I felt so sad and I was crying many days in a row. I was like, oh, I really, really, really wanted to be told that he found me special and beautiful and desirable and lovable and unique and that he wanted me and wanted to be with me. And when I realized that, yeah, that is where my sadness came from. That's where my sadness came from. That's why I was grieving because I was longing and craving for that. And that's when I realized I have to give that to myself. And this is such a cliche. This is not a new thing. If you've been around in self-development, spirituality, personal growth, you've heard this all the time. But I was really seeing it in this moment. It was like whatever I want him to tell me, I have to tell myself. Whatever I wanted him to give me, I have to give to myself first and foremost. To give myself that validation, that recognition, that acknowledgement, to see myself in that light, to know that my beauty, my desirability, my uniqueness, my magnificence, my radiance is inherent. It doesn't change whether he sees it or not, whether he acknowledges it, whether he validates me by telling me that. It doesn't change the fact of who I am in my core. I want to, so I want to give it to myself. I want to self-validate first. And it is not like a thing where you just do once and then that's it. You never have to do it again. For me, it's like an ongoing daily remembering and practicing, just noticing when I slip into sadness or grief or longing and choosing to give the self-validation to me. So, what does this have to do with writing? What does this have to do with expressing your creativity in the world? What does this have to do with sharing your soul's wisdom in a book? Luckily for me, fortunately, actually, something I always knew all these years. I know that no matter who reads my book, how many people read my book, what kind of review my book receives on Amazon, how much sales I get with my book, it doesn't change. The quality, the value, the breathtaking beauty that is my book. This is my book. She is just beautiful, just incredible, sensual, feminine, magnetic, and I love reading my book. I love holding my book in my hands, actually like touching the cover. If texture, looking at the front, looking at the back, feels really, really sensual and beautiful, very feminine. And for me, I know it doesn't matter who reads this, how many people read it, what kind of review they leave on Amazon. It doesn't change the beauty of my book. And this is what I would love for you to remember too. If you have a message from your soul that you want to share, but you're feeling this tightness, this contraction, this concern, this worry, like, how is it going to be received? How will people like what I have to say? Does what I say even matter? Who cares? Who's going to read it? Nobody cares. Um, I want you to remember that the value, the beauty, the magnificence of your soul's message is inherent. It doesn't matter who gets to read it and what they say about it. You get to validate yourself first and foremost. Oftentimes, we write something and then we post on social media, we post on Facebook or Instagram. There is the opportunity to get instant validation through like and shares and comments. You get the instant hit of validation. So when you write something and nobody likes it or comments on it, sometimes you feel, oh, people don't care. People don't really like what I have to say. And you start contracting or you start withdrawing. You don't want to share it, or you start overthinking. Now, the next time you want to say something, you feel like, oh, is it good enough? Do I need to say it in a way that make people care? What you are looking for is validation. The same thing, the best-selling status on Amazon, on New York Times, best-selling status, the reviews, these are all validations. And I'm not saying you should not have them. I'm not saying that it's bad to want the validation. No, it's totally okay. But you want to validate yourself first and foremost. You don't want to wait until you get the validation. Then and only then will you write your book. There is this concept about validating your product before putting it onto the marketplace. Like, you need to have a minimum viable product, and you validate it by testing it, finding out if people actually like it. Then once people say yes, you get the validation, then you start developing the full product. And that's the whole thing that you have probably heard in marketing. Writing and expressing your soul's voice, your soul's wisdom and beauty doesn't work like that. You can't try to have validation from the outside and express the truth and the depth of your soul. And I have another metaphor that came to me. A beautiful rose. Like, for example, this. Look at this rose on the cover of my book. This rose here, this watercolor picture of the rose. Look at this rose. How beautiful she is. Or you can imagine a rose in your mind. Let's say a beautiful rose in a garden. Does it matter how many people visit the garden? Does it matter who sees the rose? Does it matter who stops by to admire the rose and give compliments to Rose and praise her beauty and say, oh my God, you're so beautiful, you're so wonderful? Now, I do believe that plants and flowers do interact with humans. When we stop to look at a flower, when we stop to smell the flower, actually, they do respond. So there are these scientific experiments where you can put these like electronic notes to the plants, and you could observe that the plants actually respond when somebody stops by to smell it, to admire it. So we do the same when someone tells us that we are beautiful, or that they love our writing, or they love our expression. We light up, we radiate, we smile, we open up with joy. Of course, that's what the flower does too. But the flower is inherently beautiful. Her beauty does not change. Her radiance does not change. Her magnificence does not change depending on how many people pass by to see her. You have like a beautiful rose garden or flower garden, maybe no one passes by to visit in a day, and they still bloom. They are still beautiful. And that's the same thing with your writing. It is the same thing with your soul expression. So give the validation to yourself. Don't wait to get your likes and your shares and your comments. Don't put the condition on yourself to have a best-selling status and to get amazing reviews before you can, before you feel the confidence to do that, to put yourself out there. And I go back to the beginning of my share. It's the same thing. Of course, as a woman, I love to hear from a man that he finds me special and beautiful and desirable and unique. Of course, I will light up. And whether he sees that or not, whether he says that or not, doesn't change the fact of who I am. And I get to self-validate me. I get to validate myself first and foremost. So this whole piece about self-acknowledgement, self-validation, self-recognition goes deep across the board with everything that we do in who we are and how we express ourselves into the world. So if you are writing, I encourage you to allow the words to come through you and to share them, to not be bogged down and overly concerned with how that will be received, whether it is good enough or whether, God forbid, you need to like get AI to edit it and polish it up for you before you dare share that with the world. All right, that's my message for today. Let me know below in the comment what you hear from this and how it's going to change your sharing of your writing. So I hope that was helpful. Make sure you subscribe to my Substack so that you get notified of the next video in the series. And if there is a soulmate book in you, there is a soul-led book in you, and you really want to activate this and birth it out into the world, I have a free gift for you. There is a 50-minute masterclass video activation to help you get in touch with the soul of your book so that you can start the process of ushering and birthing it into the world. Will help you get really deeply in touch with this intelligence, with this being. And that's the starting point. If you want to get that free activation video, there is a link below. So click on that and enjoy.